Hi there, Joka here with some new projects for the Paige Evans design team. I'm going to share these simple cross-stitch cards with you today that I've made with cut files. All right, so I started out by selecting some pattern papers. It's always a bit difficult when it's for Christmas projects and I'm not using Christmas themed papers, so I'm normally just going by color, and I decided on blues and some beige brown kind of colors. And here are the cut files that I'm using. Actually, I'm not going to end up using one of these, this last one, because I found it quite small. So Paige has quite a few cross-stitch cut files if you check, and there are several that are Christmas themed. So there were these two different reindeers and a poinsettia and a snowflake, which like I said, I didn't end up using. So I created templates from white cardstock, which I cut down to 4 by 5.25 inches, I think. So just slightly smaller than an A2 card, because I want to add these two A2 card bases and I want to have a bit of edge to them. So I'm now cutting down some pattern paper to the exact same size, and I will add the template on the top, and then I'm just go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and poke holes. And here is where you see what I meant by the snowflake cut file being too small. The crosses on that one are much smaller than this, for instance, and the holes would be very close to each other, and I was worried that they would just rip as I stitch. So I chose some light brown kind of embroidery floss for this particular deer, and I will start stitching here just to show you quickly, but it's like super simple, so I'm going to do all the stitching off camera. So basically you are just doing crosses, as you can see. That's all to it, nothing special. I use some washi tape on the back of the pattern paper just to hold the ends in place, but yeah, nothing else to know about this really. Now if I did this again, I would probably adhere the pattern paper to a heavier weight cardstock first and then poke the holes and then stitch, because these papers are quite thin, so they, I will show you in a second why I would need them to be sturdier. So these are the 4 finished projects, and I did make a mistake on the darker blue one. I don't know if you can spot it, and I only saw it here in the video. I have no idea how I missed that stitch, but at least the holes are not there either. So it's not too bad, I guess. So I'm cutting some white cardstock for the blue papers as background, and I don't end up using that glitter paper either. I really wanted to, because it's also in one of Paige's paper pads, I think in Horizon, and I have never used it before, but somehow I just couldn't make it work. So I'm now adding some adhesive foam sheets, and this is where I thought it would have been better to have a sturdier panel, because I don't know, I just had the feeling, because they are so thin, maybe you can actually see on the light blue one that I have some indentations because of all the stitching. So maybe if I have another layer of cardstock and it's stronger, maybe I wouldn't have those. They bother me, to be honest, but hope it's not too bad. At least to send to family, I guess it's gonna be okay. And also, I always put some knot on the ends of my thread, because even if I use washi tape, I feel like it could slide out any time. But I had to cut them off here, exactly for the same reason what I explained before. um, on the light blue cardstock or pattern paper, I noticed that there were like marks or indentations in the paper as I added the foam, and all because of those knots. So for the other ones, I made sure that I cut them off, and they were actually they look much better. Anyway, I'm now creating my card bases. All of them are A2 size top folding card bases, and for the blue ones, I'm adding some white cardstock to the to the to the card base itself. I'm always using an additional um, card panel, just because I don't like the white of the cardstock I'm using for the card base, and also it's sturdier. And for the other cards, for the reindeer, I keep saying rainbow in this video, so I have to repeat my takes all the time. But I think now I said reindeer, right? So the reindeer panels, I'm adding a craft cardstock panel to the card base, like you see here. And I think earlier in the video I showed you what paper that is, um, because I never remember the name of it. And you might not see it here, but it has such a beautiful, um, not texture because it's actually smooth, but it has all these particles in it. It's really gorgeous. I have it in gray as well, and that's also very, very beautiful. Anyway, now I am adding the panels, and I'm using a lot of glue. So this ATG glue, as you can see, I glue the whole panel because I don't want any warping or any spots where it comes up the panel, or I don't know it. I just really wanted it to stick well, and I don't have adhesive sheets, so this is what I resorted to. Anyway, long story short, that's all done. Now I went through my stash of thickers, alphabet thickers, and I chose a few red and white ones. The white ones are the only ones that are from Paige. I'm not sure if it was the Pick Me Up. I think it was the Pick Me Up collection. And the red ones are all sorts of random thickers from American Crafts. Most of them are super old. And now I'm going to stick them down. On the first one, you could see that I'm removing the adhesive from the back. I'm just doing that because these are old thickers and they would probably not stick well. So I'm just removing that one layer and use liquid adhesive instead. And yeah, these, well, some of them are really big, so I had to choose like a short word for a sentiment, like joy, peace. I would prefer um, peace on earth, for instance, but it was just way too long for any alphabet that I chose. Of course, you could always add stamped or embossed or any kind of sentiment like that. But since these projects are for Paige, I wanted to use scrapbooking products, not not card making products, which is why I chose all these alphabet stickers. I'm also using adhesive on or liquid adhesive on these small foam letters. Sure, they are sticky, but they never stick well, in at least that's my opinion. So I'm just adding some extra adhesive to be sure that they will stick in the long run. So once this is done, I only have two more things to do. I'm not sure what else you could add to these cards. I wanted to keep them relatively simple. So, when I'm lost for ideas, then enamel dots are always a good solution. So I picked out a few red ones. These ones are glittery, and I'm also going to use some plain solid red ones, and I believe glittery white ones I found as well. So for the deer cards, I'm using red, and for the blue ones, the poinsettia, I'm going to use white. And I could have cut out this footage, to be honest, but I did not, because I wanted you to see, even if it's painful to watch, I wanted you to see just how much time I spend on placing these enamel dots. I don't know. I hope it's the same for you guys. I don't know why I can't just settle on, the first thing. But as long as my eyes say, no, no, that doesn't look right, don't do that. And even now, some of this just doesn't look right. But anyway, it's done. So, but I don't follow any rules here, like you should use three or three clusters or uneven numbers. I really just look at it, and if my eyes say yes, then it's all good. So here you can see probably that missed stitch on the top right petal. I don't know how that happened. But anyway, I wouldn't have been able to fix it anyway, because it was already, I only noticed it while editing the video, and then the card was already done. I wouldn't have taken it apart just because of this. So yeah, imperfections. And I don't know if you noticed the difference between this one and the other poinsettia card. That one has an extra row in the middle, an extra row of stitches. Yeah, I just wanted to do it, differently. So I added those extra holes. All right, and then, as you are probably used to it by now, last step is twine. And yeah, I spent quite a bit of time on this as well, because I have, with that foam tape in between the panel and the card base, there's now a gap. And I don't know, I just didn't have a grip on it somehow. I should have added this before adding the panel, to be honest, because now I was worried that I destroy the top, the pattern paper, pushing down that bow, and I could also not hold the twine in place when I was forming the bow. So I don't know, it just took a bit of time, but I wanted to leave it in just so you see, not that, I mean, nobody's perfect really, and everybody makes mistakes, and I make them all the time. And maybe it just helps you to do it differently. So that was it. These are the finished cards. They are simple, but I hope they will make somebody happy this Christmas. I'm not sure who I'm going to send them to yet, but I already am writing a list. All right, so this is it. I hope I could inspire you in some small way. And I will be back with a new video, actually several videos for Paige this month. So I hope you will stop by next time. See you soon. Bye bye.